Hi, my name is Niv, and welcome to the behind the scenes of the Deep Stone Crypt video raid guide. I wanted to share some inspirations, tips, things that I learned over the past 2 months that I use on this video, so that maybe you could learn something, or if you just simply wanted to know how I made the video in the first place. I use a lot of references, and it took a lot of learning the Adobe suite. I came from editing with Sony Vegas, so a lot of things were completely different. A lot of things were also the same. I use Adobe Premiere for the basic video editing portion, and I didn't actually use this in the beginning. I used a lot of After Effects to create big portions of the video, and I realized way later that was a mistake. For example, the desolation part in the video, this whole clip was all made in After Effects. So in order to edit the text, or really just the simple things, you have to go to After Effects and edit it there. Came to realize that probably not a good way of doing something like this. Probably should have multiple layers. Having it animated a background layer, animate the frostbite, animate the shelter from the storm, animate the text, all in different layers, and then stitch it together all in Premiere instead of all at once. That was definitely one of the mistakes I made at first. But as you can see, I clearly went about doing that a different way. My timeline is definitely extremely messy. And I don't know, I just kind of knew where everything went, but in a professional setting, this is probably not a good idea. There should probably be a base video layer of just the game clips and some more additional graphics layers. But as you can clearly see, there's just a lot of layers everywhere. I tried to stick to the format of the video clips staying in one layer, but did not go so well. Another thing I should have learned is how to put a entire video mask on footage. So when needing to blur a portion of the clip, I don't have to go through each individual clip in that scene and blur it. I could just apply a mask over it. That's something I need to definitely brush up on. Regardless, here's the timeline that was used for the Deep Stone Crypt video raid guide. I can kind of go through some of the key things that I learned. How I use Illustrator, After Effects, and reaching out to accomplish this. Once again, I have to thank all my friends and my family for watching this video plenty of times when I kept showing it to them. I really have them to thank as well. Let's get started. So immediately off the bat, this intro, I should probably mute this. This intro was made in After Effects, and it was probably one of the first things I ever made in After Effects. I wanted to test myself and try and mimic that Destiny visual style. You can see that actually in this reveal stream for Beyond Light and in previous reveal streams as well. There's the kind of artistic circles, the animations, the smooth layers going in, the smooth lines. All of this stuff I try to kind of recreate and challenge myself. And you'll see that actually with a bunch of different clips and animations. I try and stick to the design guide as much as I can for this video. So that's how I came to do this animation here. There's stuff wrong with it actually. Let's see. When this triangle disappears, there's some layers behind the ships. I made these ships just out of basic shapes and it does not look good when it transitions because you get some weird triangles in there. So just a lot of learning. Good learning experience for that. Probably should have touched that up, but that's okay. It happens for like just half a frame. It's fine. I will talk about recording in game and how I got some of these shots. Basically, it all came down to using a controller. The controller is your best friend for recording very smooth moments and movements in games. I took away the HUD and just slightly started tilting both the sticks and came with some pretty incredible shots. Very smooth motions, both in the camera pans and the movement, as you see here. And you can do crazy angles too, keeping kind of a camera frame focused on Tanix there, putting some focus onto the escape pods. Also see it in the security encounter when the camera kind of looks away from the fuses here. All that's done with the controller. I see a lot of people using keyboard and mice for their movements. It's good. With mice though, it kind of can get a little bit jittery when you're moving it. You can't really maintain a steady velocity when moving a mouse compared to a controller. The benefit of a controller also is you can tilt the angle while keeping that same velocity. Bungie, if you're ever going to watch this, please put a proper video mode in the game. The very unfortunate thing is with the HUD turned off in the in-game settings, you still have some elements show up. There we go. Like from the Dawning, you got the Ether Cane, the 23 Glimmer, and the Glimmer shows up throughout the entire video. That's definitely a mistake I made. I should have counted for that and gotten Max Glimmer so that wouldn't show up, but actually I don't know if it still would. But picking things like engrams off the floor and getting items like this, it still shows up even when the HUD is off. Another thing is the no gun glitch. So getting kind of a smooth camera, not smooth, a clear camera like this. Oh, see that glimmers right there? Getting a clear camera angle like this was done using a no gun glitch. Only on the warlocks, you have to use the Slova bomb tree, the top tree Void Walker. Throw your Nova bomb out and charge your grenade at the same time. Problem with that is sometimes the grenade that you're holding can bleed through the footage. You can't look down. Those are pretty bad shots, unfortunately. Like, see, like right there. You can see some of the visual effects from the grenade. And the in-game audio has a very light whine to it because of the grenade. Like, you're just constantly charging it, so it doesn't. The in-game audio isn't great either when it comes to doing that no gun glitch. But let's go back, take a look. So the fonts, right? So the fonts. I was using the style guide on the Bungie website and a style guide on Behance, and it's also on ArtStation, and these were insanely helpful. Albeit I didn't stick to it entirely, but it helped a lot. And when planning for a next video, I think it's a good idea to have your own design guide. The fonts you use, the size of the fonts, colors, having all of that handy would really help on the next video. Test stuff like this, bold, the normal. Kind of applied that to my video. Even though they say header, I actually use them as subheaders with this font. Look. Yeah, so stuff like that. So that's a subheader. and I mix match too. When calling out the augments in the subheader, I still use the bold. But it's all a matter of choice. I think as long as it looks clean, it's gonna be good. So I did try and stick as close as I can. And you can actually see that with um, the text that pops up on the bottom left here. This guy. This is definitely important, at least in my videos, to making it feel like this video could be straight out of the game itself. This isn't exactly how it looks like in the game. This is actually a little bit bigger text, but I chose a little bit bigger so that if someone wanted to view this on their phone, they wouldn't have to squint, they wouldn't have to zoom in. It could be right there. The downside for having a bigger font like that is when you have a big header for that. This like 10x the abomination. It goes even halfway across the screen here. It's fine, and it looks good when viewing on mobile, but you can actually see the in-game one right here. Wait, bigger. Restricted, showing up right there. That's how the actual in-game one looks like, and it's pretty hard to see on mobile. But I tried to stick to that as close as I could. There's a little box that appears on the subheader right here. Kind of hard to see. Maybe it's not even in this shot. I swear it was there before. Let's see. I definitely know it was here at the end of the security encounter. Yeah, you can see a little bit of the box right there. So I mimicked all of that. The position of the box, the position of the subtext, the colors, the opacity. Tried to stay as close as I could to the original. That's the little subtext there, but a lot of this is just kind of stitching together clips and making it look presentable. Like I said, as if it came right out of the video game itself. For the augments, yeah, so these ones were pretty difficult to get right. There's no actual image file that has been ripped or posted online of just the augment itself, or at least that I could have found at the time. And I had to just go in the game and take a screenshot and just trace it in Illustrator. And there's a couple mistakes too. The operator one, there should be a line right here. Show his right arm. Or left, I guess, ending. Or probably that's right. Regardless, and a little wide right there. But for the rest, I just have to trace and then animate in After Effects. And I gotta say, it's really nice how well integrated these programs are together to just import an Illustrator file into After Effects to have an animation like this. Another thing that really brought the video to life were the sound effects. I hadn't placed the sound effects until I was done with probably 8 tracks, which was about the halfway mark. And it felt just so flat until I added the sound effects. They were taken directly from the game, and they are just they add so much life to the video. Let's see what else I got to show you. The Desolation map. So Desolation map was made by a Reddit user. I reached out to them and I asked if I could actually use their map in this video, and for some safety measure, I provided some like little bit clips here and there to show that I was actually doing a video. I'm not trying to steal their art or anything, and they were happy to share it with me, and they actually put it on Reddit themselves. So they provided this Google Drive of the Desolation map. It's this huge file, and it's extremely well made, in my opinion. and I'm very thankful. So this is what was posted on Reddit, and when they uploaded the Google Drive, they actually included all the different layers and the Photoshop files you can see there, including one without any text. I thought this was just perfect. I could take out some of these layers right here and then kind of incorporate it, make it transition well. I also animated it to look 3D with the clouds and kind of the camera rising up over the land. The way they drew it was perfect because it gives a really good 3D effect without it actually being 3D. It's just on a 2D plane. That it really worked out in the end there. The clouds were just multiple layers. Everything was just kind of hand animated in After Effects. Moving across and given some sort of velocity. There's a slight cloud layer right there as well. That's just kind of moves in the background to give it more life, really. So it's not just kind of a still image. As you see, I tried again to mimic the style exactly with the debuff, although this isn't the exact image taken from the game. This is from a different place, and I just thought this kind of fit more in line with what I'm trying to say here. The font and everything is all exactly the same as the game. Yeah, so more references, kind of the circular imagery, kind of rising out and constantly rotating. All of Destiny's visual guide was hand drawn, taken from the actual security encounter itself. Let's see if I got it. I think I do have a shot in here of that. Yeah, so it's actually right there. Thought that was a really cool looking design element that I wanted to put into the video. So I actually animated that coming down, splitting it into thirds. And this is actually pretty incredible. I didn't think it would be that useful. Usually you render or you would record in 1920 by 1080 if you're doing 1080p videos. It's 16 by 9. This kind of thing right here. I was given a ultra wide monitor, twice as these put together, which results in a huge field of view like this. And this turned out to be super useful for the video. I felt I could do so much more better looking shots than I probably would have with just like a normal 16 by 9, or sorry, 16 by 9? I'm not remembering the numbers now. Yeah, 16 by 9. I could do shots like the fuses on the top reacting to the fuses on the bottom. That was pretty incredible. I could do shots like this, showing that kind of visual symmetry, and hopefully making the user understand, oh yeah, so if I see this is lighting up as scanner, this is the one they're going to be shooting at up here. And that's further emphasized in the actual encounter itself, the footage here, timing both of these to explode at the same exact time, so the viewer can kind of understand that correlation. And obviously this is not the same encounter. As you can see, these two are already gone, and these ones are still here, or at least this one is. This one's probably gone. But stitching it together like this hopefully makes the user understand what's actually going on. Because when you're actually playing the encounter, usually, for the first time, usually you're stuck in one role and you won't be able to see the others. So this is a good example for, oh, this is what happens in the basement. Oh, this is what happens at top. And there's more glimmer there, which is super unfortunate. But yeah, so that ultra wide was really clutch right there. The Atrax is probably my favorite encounter. I put a lot of love into this one for some strange reason. Probably have good memories of that for sitting there for 16 hours on day one. But this is really funny because this is actually when Hitman 3 released, when I was editing this at least. And I got a lot of inspiration from that game, the cutscenes in that game, that it just kind of bled in here, and I thought really fit the theme, the kind of the redacted text, even though you're not actually redacting any meaningful text, you're actually just making it so that the user can look at it very quickly and understand what's going on. But for animations like this is all just purely Hitman inspiration, if I'm completely honest. But a lot of these shots were just me taking pictures from the game, footage from the game. Like this was me flying in. You can kind of see a little ship there flying in, timing it right so that I can kind of get Jupiter in the background there, and it's a nice little picture. Separate the ground from the space team. And the sound effects also at play here, just really emphasizing a lot of the movements. Hopefully drawing the user when I put a sound effect showing the target reticle on 8 tracks. Stuff like that. Basically just wanted to help my audience visually, audibly understand this raid as easily as possible. Surface level, at least. But yeah, this little animation here, this is probably my second animation in After Effects. I wanted to test myself to see if I could mimic that new objective marker that appears in the upper left corner in the game. And I think I have it open. Don't. Here we go. So yeah, so here we see the whole animation here. Obviously this is like, this I feel like could be simplified more. My first time using kind of stuff and I'm still a newbie. But it kind of turned out pretty well. And like I said, the sound effects, just playing it like this, it just seems kind of flat, but that sound effect from the game just fits it so well. And the easy thing is I can just take this picture and replace it with a different objective marker. Editing this text is super easy, and it'll just stay in this animation. Oops. And it'll just come down, fade in like that. It's pretty incredible, and this was used in the raid video to differentiate the end of the encounter layout and transition over to the encounter steps. I want to give the user kind of, okay, here's the layout of the whole encounter that you're going to see here, the important things in the encounter you're going to see here, and your actual goal. And then you move on to the steps. I tried to make the steps as simplified as possible. Pretty hard to do. I cannot imagine doing this for Last Wish, but I'm gonna do my best.
You are finally here, Brother Slayer, Spawn Killer.
All that strength and you're still nothing but a retainer to the awoken queen.
You could be so much more. All you need do is wish it.
Come. I would quite like to meet you.
But yeah, adding just some more visual flair to make sure it's just not kind of boring looking. Like this circle element right here, the blurred video in the background. And then here is the actual Atrax bit that transitions from here into kind of like this redacted document form, this trope that you see sometimes, especially in like Call of Duty, I guess. What was it, Black Ops 1 probably? But yeah, adding, you know, the little things here to make it kind of pop out more. And I think it turned out pretty good right there. The music was all from the encounters, and I cut some of them down. I extended Atrax because it starts in a weird angle, or sorry, at a weird place in the actual song itself. But yeah, I extended some of them. Hopefully you didn't notice any jumps in the music. I tried to match the beats and the tempo as much as I could without J.K. Simmons yelling at me. The descent encounter was the last encounter I did, and I feel like could have gone better. So I'm a little disappointed in that. But mechanics was pretty amazing. I had an idea in my head since I did this raid of splitting into these 3 areas, 3 zones. That's what we did at first. We did call it the white zone and the blue zone, the orange zone. I think now it's just called spawn and blue, or I don't know, people also changed up their way of doing this encounter. They do all 4 nukes at once instead of 2. But I'm trying to take a step back and present this video to someone who's never raided before. So I'm trying to give him the first strat to do some of these encounters. And then we have the end. Actually get Eyes of Tomorrow, and I actually get Descendant on this run, which is pretty nice. And yeah, the credits. Credits were probably my second favorite part of the video. I just had a lot of fun editing and finding all these different elements and making it really stand out. But yeah, big takeaways I guess would be plan ahead, set up for your own style guide, colors, your text, your font. Definitely organize. That was a humongous help, especially when you have video clips like this and you forget to rename them. It's just, what am I looking at, you know? As far as the game goes, if you're recording Destiny, max glimmer. Probably don't do it during dawning. If there's another no gun glitch, probably best to use that. There was a Stasis Titan no gun glitch that was pretty much amazing. I missed my chance to do that until they patched it. Yeah, it was a good learning experience. For recording for other games, controller definitely a must-have to get some really nice sweeping angles, some good shots. The thumbnail. So the thumbnail, just like before, really trying to keep to that same design of the game. This is one of the thumbnails I made for one of my earlier content vault videos for the Bergusia Forge. And this became a template for pretty much every video after that regarding this game. Pretty simple, just a couple elements here and here in line, and then the icon that corresponds to the activity, whether it's a raid or a mission. All the elements are right here, and they have these elements on the Destiny website. Then it's just the same text, the same font. You just kind of replace it for really anything behind the scenes. And you replace the background. It's just blurred with Gaussian 5, and that's pretty much it for the thumbnails. They tend to look pretty good. They tend to look almost official, I'd say, which is kind of scary. I hope it doesn't get me into trouble, but that's how I basically designed these thumbnails, mimic as much as I could the actual game and really savor that style. But I think that's about it. This is me just kind of rambling at this point, and we're about at 30 minutes or so. Want to kind of get my thoughts out there and see if this type of video is good. As for upcoming stuff, I'm hoping to do a voiceover version of this guide because I know people like the voiceovers. We'll see how that goes. I can write up a script, have it seem pretty good, go with the video. Harbinger mission video should be coming out soon. Part of the Content Vault playlist. And yeah, again, I have to thank my friends and my family for pretty much everything throughout this video, supporting, helping me film. The folks at the end, the fire team members at the end here, we went through the raid like 3 times, encounter like 3 times, because I had to get footage of, each augment, different camera angles, doing the augments in first person, seeing someone else do the augments. It's quite an ordeal, but I think it turned out pretty good. Yeah, so I think that's all I got. Let me know if it was helpful or inspiring. Really anything. If you just had a good day, let me know. Anyways, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed time listening to me ramble. And yeah, have a good day.